Hey, my name is Ming from agentsofspeech.com. We coach parents how to teach their children to start speaking at home. So, if you are struggling to get your child's attention, keeping it, and using that attention to teach something meaningful, this video is for you. So, the first thing we want to look at is why children look at us or why they would look at something with us. Okay, that's called joint attention. I'll talk about that in a bit. So, the first reason is because your child wants attention from you. Imagine yourself across the hall and there's a lot of people in between and you see someone. So the first thing you would want to do is to try to establish eye contact so that I get that person's attention. All the screaming, all the name calling, all the hey, yo, what's up, all those things we're trying to do is to get that person to look at us, right? So when I'm looking at that person, I'm trying to get that person's attention. And it's the same for children, okay? So if a child looks at you, it's trying to get your attention. So that's why a lot of parents, they will say, oh, my child only looks at me when they want something from me, right? When they're hand pulling towards that item, they might look and then start pulling towards the item that they want. And he or she wouldn't look at you anymore because already got your attention, already got your hand, and I'm going to pull you towards the thing that I want you to give me, okay? Second reason is that on that person's face, there's information that I need to know. For example, if I say something, like on YouTube, I can't. I look at your face. So a lot of times when I'm speaking to a bunch of parents, I will look at the parents' faces to see if they're understanding me or not from their facial expression. Or if I am answering a question and it's someone that there's a right or wrong answer, right? So I say something to gauge. For instance, if I ask my wife, if she asks me, what do I want to eat tonight? And then I say something, I look at her face to gauge the response and see if I need to amend it or whatever. And that's the same as for children. So you see, if you're trying to teach a child something and when you ask them a question, they try to answer, they try to look at your face and see if they're right or wrong before you even say so. So those are the two reasons for eye contact or attention. Okay, those are the two reasons. How to get the attention is very simple. For these two things, these two reasons to happen, a child must have an intrinsic motivation, right, to get your attention, or to wanna be correct or wanna know more about something, the response, socially speaking, by looking at your face and see if what they said, what they did was accepted by you. If your child has nothing that she wants or he wants approval from, or doesn't want your attention about, then what do? It's very simple. We get something that he or she likes. Okay, this could be a snack, it could be a toy, it could be screen time even, it could be anything that is of value to your child. Why is this very important? Because if we don't have something that is of value and we try to get a child's attention just by name calling or like clapping our hands or trying to get them to, like, some parents actually turn the child's head towards us, which is not very good, physically speaking. And on a health level, that's not that great. By getting their attention, we have to provide something of value, all right? Doesn't matter how hard you clap or how happy you seem or how many words or how loud you go. If there's nothing of value, those things will fizzle out. It's just as if you were out on the street and someone was promoting something, okay? And there's loud banging, they're using a loudspeaker and stuff. And by the time you go there, you're like, oh, that's nothing of my interest. You won't care anymore. You won't even bat an eye. You won't even pay attention. All right. So get something that will get your child's attention. And I understand I'm going to get to the point where we don't need to use this anymore, but stay with me. All right. Because we've tried this with many parents over the internet. We've coached 400 something parents now, and this has been working. Okay. The next point I want to talk about is how teachers and therapists get a child's attention, which will be different from you, because teachers and therapists, child workers, they have this special ability to turn on Disney mode, to go into a state of being where they are the point of interest. So if you go to Miss Rachel, it's just a talking head, right? It's just a normal woman. Why do children pay attention? Is because of her skill, of how she talks, how everything. So if anything, go watch Miss Rachel and try to imitate as much as you can. And obviously she has a lot of visual aids. She has like bus moving. I don't know, like there's little numbers and stuff popping up on the video, not as boring as this video. Me having your attention now, you're still watching, it means I have of something value to you, meaning the stuff that I've been saying hopefully has been valuable. Okay? Forget about how the teachers and therapists are getting attention, because that's a much harder game to play. And obviously that would be nice if you could do that, but you can't do that 100% of the time every day. Even Miss Rachel needs to like just relax and chill, right? So how do we get the attention is to get something of value to show them instead. All right. And this is where we try to sustain the attention. The biggest problem I see at home with parents is that when you get your child's attention, you do a bunch of stuff and then you give that thing of value to your child one off and that's it. So meaning if they wanted a cookie, you go through this whole sequence of, I want a cookie, whatever, or you do this first or whatever. And then he gets it, boom, he's gone. And then you don't have no attention anymore. He ran off with the cookie in his mouth. And he's like, what we need to do here is to split that reward up. All right, split it up. Give little by little. Okay, give little by little, even if it's free, just give him a little bit by little. Why do we want to do this? It's because we're trying to build a relationship between you and your child. And you might say, oh my God, one of the parents said, I can't believe I'm making my child turn into a parrot. I don't want my child to care about adult approval in order to get what he wants. And it's not good parenting. So I don't know about what good or not good parenting is. I don't know what's going to happen later in life. I have no idea. But if we want to get your child's attention in order to keep it and to teach something that he needs to learn, right? Stay with me. We will have to create a relationship where your child needs to listen to you, needs to attend to your instructions, take your feedback, and iterate on that feedback to learn better. Okay? Now, you might think about when you were going to tutors, right? For piano, for whatever that you were learning before. You do have that motivation to learn. Maybe you didn't have. But then for children who don't pay attention, it's because there's no motivation to teach. So a lot of the times I would tell parents, look, do you think they have an attention problem? If you give them a screen, are they going to be locked in? Do they look at other things? If they do, then they don't have an attention problem. They have a problem with where to put the attention to, right? So to sustain the attention, you need to give small doses of the stuff that you were doing with them. So for instance, let's not talk about snacks because that's a little bit too robotic. Parents shut off when they hear that. It's, oh my God, you're treating them like a puppy. Partially true because later on we'll be able to build a relationship and get rid of those snacks. But if we're doing toys, we don't give the toys all in one go, right? So if you play poker, you play at a casino, you don't want to all in, right? You don't want to like shove all your tokens or chips in one go because then you can't play anymore, right? Whether you will lose or win is a different matter, but you don't want to go boom like that and then just leave it to chances. So you do it little by little to build a relationship, right? You give a little bit and a little bit. So for instance, if you're using a puzzle, doing an ABC puzzle, right? You want to give those puzzle pieces one by one, right? And then if you're doing like a car slide, you want to give the cars to your child one by one. And then you want to aim the car slide back at you. When it slides down, it comes back at you, right? When you're doing bubbles, you want to blow little by little, not boom like that, or literally give your child the bubble gun. That's not cool. That's not called playing together. That's called giving someone a sports car and let them ride off. We don't want that, okay? Sustaining attention is by limiting and increasing the frequency of the rewards, okay? So little rewards, but keep on chopping it, right? Same as screen time. You want to pause it and sing together. And then once you're done singing together or talking together, describing everything on the screen, and then press play again. To sustain attention is always to go little by little. Now, the question I get a lot is eye contact, right? So if my child is not looking at me during all this interaction, what's the point? Because a lot of the times, parents are thinking from a symptomatic approach, meaning if my child has no eye contact, therefore there's a higher risk of autism. And actually, this is not really that true. It's like, I always say this to the parents and they get it. I say, okay, if you have a cough, okay, it could be a lot of reasons. It could be that you caught a flu, it could be a cold, it could be other problems, it could be something very severe. So it's the same as eye contact. It's a symptom. Doesn't mean it's autism, right? Doesn't mean anything. And if we can direct a child's attention to something that is what we deem as suitable, right? Then what's the problem with having a diagnosis in the first place, right? I'm just telling you, okay? If you're able to solve something, doesn't matter that the diagnosis, all right? So once you get that thing out of your head, it doesn't matter about if your child is looking at you or not, because you're using an external reason for them to pay attention with you, right? So what you want to do now is to understand the concept of joint attention, okay? So if your child is looking at the thing that you are presenting him or her with, then you already have joint attention. A lot of parents jump into play, into naturalistic play, into what we call language facilitation, describing, narrating everything around the whole house before getting joint attention, because the word child-led is very misleading. And the parents have been misled to realize that naturalistic, talking over a child, yada yada, will yield very good results without getting a child's attention first. Okay, there's a reason why it works, because therapists and teachers, they know how to get a child's attention without external things. They are the toy themselves. They go whoa like that, and then their energy level goes up here. And that's why like parents cannot do it, because you're not a professional, first of all. Second of all, you cannot sustain that at home for 24 hours. You're gonna be exhausted. Back in the day when I was working at a therapy center, I see children for 8 hours straight. I go home, I can't talk to anyone. I'm just mute. I'm tired. I'm done. I'm toasted. So you can't do this with your child all day long. Okay? You might be able to sustain for 10 to 15 minutes, but no. Okay? So going back to the point, joint attention is just that you guys are attending to the same thing. And once you have that, it's very easy to sustain that because you're giving in small amounts. And secondly, is that whenever he or she wants something from you, you can do something in between that is maybe to teach a play, maybe to teach your child to say something, maybe to teach your child to do some homework, some academic stuff, and then you can go on with the activity in small amounts. Like, for instance, the car starts, okay, you want again, that's cool, like they're trying to get it from you, and then, okay, do this first real quick. Boom, give the car back, and then you just keep on going like that. So you might think, oh my God, this is so robotic. But the thing is, teachers use it a lot inside of classrooms, right? Breaks are a way to get a child to do something. And a break is actually a reward by its own, all right? So you have to remember that, right? Circle time, singing songs, whatever. Those are also rewards. Those are all also positive experiences, right? Teachers use it, so you should use it too. But you're not going to be able to sing a song as good as a teacher would be able to just because of their profession. You might be like a lawyer, accountant, whatever. You might do other things. You can't get a therapist or a teacher to do your job. Anyways, the next point is artificial attention. And this term just literally means you're trying to get someone's attention artificially by clicking your fingers, by turning your child's neck towards you. Highly do not recommend you doing that. And also trying to clap your hands and call names with higher and higher volume, with higher and higher pitch. It's not good for your vocal folds, my friend. And secondly, is that once you get a child to look at you through this artificial means, later on, you will have to keep on upping that until there's a new ceiling, a new threshold, so to speak, to get that attention from you. You need to scream louder, all right? So don't do that, and use rewards, use positive experiences to get your child's attention. See what they want and then give it to them, all right, in small amounts. And then in between, you want to praise, you want to talk about it, give feedback. Oh, thank you for playing with me. Thank you for being so kind. And look at mom, nice playing with me. Thank you so much. Okay, nice waiting. I like that you're still sitting with me. All these words mean a lot to children. Okay. And the last thing I want to talk about is your relationship with your child. You know how I was saying the rewards and the positive relationships, positive experiences, they only take you so far. And that's because as you get better at giving rewards, at praising, at giving feedback, at catching good moments and sustaining that, what's going to happen is that you will have a good relationship with your child. And when we have that, it doesn't matter. You don't require rewards anymore. I've seen this multiple times in our parent coaching programs where in the beginning, the child only works with, I don't know, with a lollipop in his mouth. Later on, you don't see any of that anymore, right? Anymore, none. And I can tell you from my experience, 10 years now as a therapist, around 3 or 4 months, I don't need the toys anymore. Children are already conditioned, and this is a very bad word to use. I understand some parents are like, oh my God, you're conditioning children. Yeah, but then children are conditioned to like me because of how generous I'm giving the rewards, right? How easy it is to have a good time together because I'm spacing out the rewards, I'm praising them, I'm giving them feedback, I'm teaching them stuff along the way. And every time I teach, I make sure that there's a very low failure rate. A lot of times parents will quiz, ask, what is this? What do you say when this happens? Blah, 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 blah. And then kids just ignore you. We don't want that. We want to start off with very easy tasks, what we call micro commitments, right? And all these are very simple. Like for instance, I just want him to pick this up and put it there. I want to give me a high five. And all these positive things just stack up. And if you just search online about micro commitments, it's a psychological thing. The more someone tells you to do some small things, it leads up to bigger commitments later on. Okay, so it's just that simple. You don't ask for big things, you ask for small things. For the small things, you give loads of praise, rewards, and everything. Anyone's gonna like you. That's why I start to teach parents, because every time when the children, they come to the clinic, they're super well behaved, they like the session, they're happy, they're talking a lot. But then when they're back at home, they're just like the same again, aloof, not paying attention. Mom can't get him to sit at the table, gets smacked, right? Grabs the cookie and runs away. So because of this, that's why we teach parents, okay? And all the above that I've talked about, we have it inside of a course for free in our community. You can go to www.agentsofspeech.com/course. It's inside of the micro course. All right, it's literally the first course you will see. Go through it and you will know exactly what to do with getting your child's attention. We have loads of good reviews and positive feedback from parents all over around the world. Currently, we have 16,000 parents inside of the community. So go in, check it out, go look around the course, ask some questions. Someone must have done it before you, all right? And this is very doable. All right, that's all for now. Let me know if you have any other questions down below in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.